finish this race, not alone, by myself, but with you. Though tough times come out my way, that we will rise and become the new God. We will stand up and rise together. We will march into victory. Hold my hand and we say we know I can fight, it's for you as it has been for me. Everyone shine. All of us is for a reason, for a greater vision. We will rise together. We will march into victory. Hold my hand and we say we know I can fight, it's for you as it has been for me. We will stand up and rise together. We will march into victory. Hold my hand and we say we know I can fight, it's for you as it has been for me.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to International Prop Chat. My name is Sue Wong, and I am your host today. I'm from International Property Team at IQI Realty. And on behalf of IQI Global, I just want to thank you for joining us and supporting our program. This program features various real estate opportunities, global projects, and also bringing you the hottest investment opportunities in different parts of the world. So do follow us on our Facebook and our YouTube channel for updates and announcements. Today, we are privileged to have Ms. Hani Zuhuri, a property lawyer partner from Riseam Sharples, to give us an insight of the legal process in legal property purchase in UK. Hi, Hani. How are you?
Hi, Sue. Thank you so much for having me this evening.
Yeah, thank you for giving us this privilege to have you and to walk through us with this legal process of purchasing property in UK. And
It's my pleasure.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Maybe first start. Why don't you just introduce yourself and your firm?
Yes. So, I've bring up my slides. So I am Hani Zuhuri. I'm a partner and conveyancing lawyer for Riseam Sharples. I've been attached with Riseam Sharples for over a decade now. So our firm is a specialist law firm that deals specifically in conveyancing matters. So we only deal with property dealings in the UK. And we are not a general practitioner, but just for a specialist conveyancing legal firm. So our offices are located in central London. It's near Covent Garden and Leicester Square. We have several lawyers in Asia. We have 3 lawyers in Hong Kong at the moment, myself in Malaysia, and also our main HQ office is in London. We have regular visits to Asia, and obviously because we are in the Asian time zone, we're able to assist with all our clients within 24-hour clock. So whenever they need any assistance within Asian time zones, we are here for them, as well as in the UK time zones. Because our senior partner has been dealing with the conveyancing matters for the last 30, 40 years, we are trusted by developers, agents, and also banks in the UK as well as overseas. So we are trusted by developers, agents, and banks as well.
See. So you have to travel in and out of Malaysia and London sometimes, right?
Correct. So we do attend property exhibitions, especially in Asia, in Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia. So one of our lawyers will be flying to those parts and attend the property exhibitions on behalf of the firm.
Yeah, having dealing with the clients here, sometimes it's important, like like for somebody that actually work in the same time zone, right? It's really comforting for them, like they can reach you, or within their waking hours.
Correct. So we obviously provide a 24-hour service for our clients.
Yeah, you do work hard. So, so is there any difference in buying the legal process for any for the locals in the UK and foreigners like us?
So I would have to say that there's no difference. So
Mm,
the legal process is the same for foreign buyers as well as local buyers. The legal process is the same. There isn't any distinction differences. So if I go to my next slide. So I just have a overview of the conveyancing process.
mm,
And this is the same for local and foreign buyers. For instance, if they decide to reserve a new build property,
mm,
then the property transaction will fall into four stages: the reservation, exchange of contracts, completion, and post completion.
mm,
So there isn't any difference whether you are a resident in the UK or whether you're a resident in Malaysia, Singapore, Hong Kong, for instance. The reservation part is the same, and I find that this is the most exciting part because obviously this is where you pick the unit. Um, and obviously, you decide which unit you want to purchase, and
mm,
then you have decided on the particular unit, then that's where the reservation comes in.
mm,
And then you usually have to pay a reservation fee to book that particular unit.
mm,
Reservation fee can be either up to £2,000 or up to £5,000, it depending on the particular scheme.
mm,
And then at the time of reservation, that's where a reservation form or a booking form is signed between the buyers and the vendors,
mm,
with all the particular details, such as the buyer's details, name and addresses, and any other special conditions.
mm,
So, and then the second stage is the exchange of contracts.
mm,
So, once the reservation form has been agreed between both parties, then the reservation will be issued, reservation form will be issued to the solicitors. At that point, that's where the vendors listers will issue the contracts to the buyers listers. And then at that stage, this is where we come in, and we, as the recommended purchasers listers, we will
mm.
advise the clients on the exchange of contracts, the SMP essentially.
Yeah.
So we would have carried out all the legal matters, the searches in respect to the title, and then we would have prepared a legal report to our clients. And
Mm,
then usually the exchange of contracts, there will be a time frame, like a time limit as to when the exchange of the SMP needs to take place. It could be up to
mm,
the 21 days from the time when the contracts are issued, or
mm,
it'll be 28 days or any other days that's been agreed between both parties. And then once the exchange has taken place, that's when usually a 10% deposit will be payable.
mm,
So under the exchange of contracts, there may be stage payments payable as
mm,
part of the scheme. So maybe there'll be a stage payment after 12 months or 18 months or 2 years. It all depending on the development itself.
mm,
And then when it comes to the completion side, this is essentially when the property is completed.
mm,
But usually, what we do with all our client is 3 to 4 months prior to completion, we would write them and notify them that completion is imminent, and to put in hand any financing, and prepare their funds for completion, so that obviously last minute they don't want to be trying to get their
Yes.
funds ready.
Yes.
Exactly. So We usually write to them 3 to 4 months prior to completion just to prepare them,
Okay.
and deal with any other queries that they may have.
Mm,
And at the point of completion, that is where usually we will deal with the mortgage documents if they're arranging financing, and then deal with the drawdown of the loan, and then obviously the balance purchase price is payable. And then once it's completed, that's where the keys are released to the buyer.
mm,
So that's the end of the conveyancing process for the buyers. But then obviously
mm,
after that, we as the buyers listers, we continue to deal with the post completion. And this takes
mm,
us in paying the stamp duty, land
mm,
tax for them, and also the post
mm.
completion and registration, their name on the title at the land registry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So, you in between all this, you also, because you mentioned about the stage payment, right? You also will remind the buyers about their stage payment as well. Do you?
Correct. So what
Mm,
we do is we usually write to them a few weeks before the stage payment is due,
mm,
notifying them the amount and our account details. And obviously, we will have to deal with further money laundering
mm,
documentations before funds are accepted, which
mm,
I'll go through that later on. But yes, so
mm.
we will notify them prior to the stage payment being due.
Okay. Honey, I understand that you grew up in UK, right? And also you have 14 years of handling the property transaction. Why do you think that draws so many investors into UK property market?
Well, I mean, I think UK is still a hotspot for investors.
Mm,
It's still a vibrant city. People still want to visit there. People still want to live there, study there. They still have the top universities in the UK.
yep.
Most of my clients that I deal with,
Mm,
majority of the time that they want to purchase a property in the UK is down to their kids studying in the UK.
mm,
So, because of the rental market is very, very high at the moment,
mm,
it makes sense for them to buy a property for their children.
mm,
For instance, the first year, of course, they will be living in the university halls, but for the second, third year, they will have to find alternative accommodation. So it works out well for them to try and invest in a property and trying to minimize their cost at that point.
That's an important point, isn't it? Because as rental go up, right, everybody want to, like minimize the cost and also make a little bit of the rental from the UK market, right?
Definitely. I mean, if you add up the rental cost, accommodation, and with the rise in the cost of living,
Mm,
it just makes sense to buy a property there for them to
mm,
stay.
mm,
And whenever the parents come and visit them, at least there is a place for them to stay as well.
mm,
So the conveniency of having a property in the UK and especially in London,
mm.
it makes sense for them to
Okay.
invest there.
Okay.
So, majority of my clients, what they do is they invest that solely for the purpose of their
Yep.
children's education. Yeah,
Mm. Uh, yeah, that's our biggest client base as well. Those are sending the children to study over there because right now
yeah,
also, yeah, yeah. So right now, there is also a 2 years visa after they complete their study. So majority
correct.
of them will choose to stay back at least for that 2 years to
For the two
actually.
years,
Yeah, that's right.
but there are definitely a small pool of buyers who, still want to invest in
Mm,
in the UK, in London, in Manchester, or outside London or Birmingham.
mm.
Maybe because investing in, for instance, in Malaysia, they've already invested so much, they've got extra
Yes,
cash, and they want to try and see what's out there.
yes.
I know for a fact that Australia, they have a different buying process for foreigners,
Mm,
and I said in the beginning of the talk that there's no differences in the legal
yeah.
side for foreigners or local residents. The conveyancing process is still the same.
Mm.
So I think generally UK is still number one place to invest in.
Yeah, I do agree with you. Actually, UK is very friendly to the investors, especially in the property area. Yeah. Mm.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, your service, right? Does it also involve assisting client with the loan document? And also, the second part of my question is that is there a difference in terms of documentation when a buyer acquire UK loan versus local loan?
Well, our firm, Riseam Sharples, we have dealt with several different lenders, local and also overseas.
Mm,
So we have first-hand knowledge in how to deal with the loan documentations.
mm,
So for a start, if the buyer decides to um, acquire a loan in the UK in a local bank, then
mm,
obviously the paperwork is very straightforward, and the
mm,
drawdown process is straightforward for us.
mm,
But obviously, some of our clients overseas, they may generally get a better rate for trying to get a acquiring a loan in the local country itself. But we do have specialist knowledge in dealing with the paperwork.
mm,
For instance, we have dealt with Maybank, Singapore, Maybank Singapore, Maybank CIMB, OCBC, UOB, just to name a few. The documentations are slightly different.
mm,
It's a lot more paperwork, but it's not nothing that we can't deal with.
mm,
So generally, the drawdown process does take slightly longer, but it's something that we can handle
mm.
within the time frame as to when the completion needs to take place.
Okay.
So in terms of overseas lenders, there's slightly more paperwork involved,
Mm.
but generally, I think it's quite the same as to acquiring a loan here in Malaysia as well, buying a local property.
Okay, yeah, okay, that's comforting to know. And being a Malaysian and qualified as a UK property lawyer, how do you think your background and experience help you in serving your client?
Uh, I mean, obviously, because I'm a fellow Malaysian,
Mm,
it's easy for me to communicate and relate with most of my buyers, overseas buyers.
mm,
Um, and for instance, one of the big sectors that I can assist with is the money laundering
mm,
documentations.
mm,
Most of I mean, I can't speak for other firms, but generally, because I'm a fellow Malaysian myself, whenever a buyer presents documentations just to for their source of wealth and their source of funds, it's something that I can understand,
mm,
and the documents doesn't itself needs to be translated. So for me, I can provide an easier service for them. It's more convenient for them, obviously, to have a lawyer that understands what documentations are being presented, just
mm,
to satisfy the money laundering side.
mhm,
For instance, individual buyers, photo ID, we need passport, proof of address. Sometimes it's in Malay, the Malay language, but for instance, myself, I can translate the documents and the
yes.
evidence of source of funds. In Malaysia, for instance, there's particular savings accounts that
Yep.
maybe a local solicitor is unable to understand.
Mm,
But for that part, it's easier for me to relate to the clients and be able to explain to the compliance officer, for instance, in order to explain where their source of funds are or wealth is coming from.
mm,
And then for companies, UK and offshore, as you can see on the list there, these
mm,
are the list of documents that we require.
mm,
It's the same list for local and offshore companies.
mm. Yep. So yeah, it's definitely comforting to know that like because I think as a Malaysian we are still actually we are still at the beginning stage of implementing this anti money laundering regulation locally. So like a lot of things that we are not very familiar, and then but whereas UK, they are quite strict with this kind of law. And also in terms of like documentation, translation and everything, right? It's definitely helpful that when you take a look at the document, you already know what it is about and everything, right? Rather than you're having to go to a professional translator and to do the document and certify the document. Yeah. So.
Correct, correct. I mean, the anti-money laundering regulation in the UK has become more and more stricter over the years. I
Mm,
would say maybe over a decade ago, there wasn't a lot of more documents that needs to be obtained from the purchaser itself.
mm,
But now, because of recent cases and developments, the money laundering regulation is very strict, and
mm,
as a firm,
mm,
we usually can't accept funds or progress with the file until everything is satisfied.
yeah.
So
Mm,
it is very helpful to have someone that understands the documentations from that particular region.
mm,
And as I said, I've got colleagues that's based in Hong Kong as well,
yeah.
and we've got a China team as well in the
Mm,
main office. So any translations like Chinese documents and everything, we can deal with that.
mm,
We also have other lawyers in the main office that speaks Greek, that speaks Arabic, that speaks Turkish. So we have a different pool of lawyers that can cater for so many different purchases around the world.
yeah, yeah, that definitely is helpful, because more and more, like foreigners, because I mean the interest is from globally, like every country there will be interest in investing in the first tier city like London, right? So it is important that if you have somebody that speak their language, definitely there will be no any message that's missing in interpretation, right? So
Correct. And then it will help with the conveyancing process to speed it up.
yeah, that's
Obviously, the main goal for us for the clients is to provide them a smooth conveyancing, journey.
mm,
Obviously, buying a property overseas can be quite
yes,
difficult, frustrating, or overwhelming for them. But
mm,
of course, because we're a specialist firm that has dealt with so many overseas buyers,
mm.
we will try and ensure that the process is as easy for them as possible.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I guess yeah, thank you so much for your sharing, Honey. I guess
Pleasure.
this is for our audience, that if you need to know more information about the legal process before even you go on and search for the property, definitely you can come to us, and we can link you up with Honey, and she can actually she is the expert that can give you a good and sound advice before you even start the process. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us today. And if any of the audience have any more question, please leave a message in the comment box or contact us directly. And you can also visit us on the our website www.iqiglobal.com, and do tune in to our Facebook Live for international property sharing. And thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you so much, Sue. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.